don't stop. Get it, I'ma get you down a little, baby. Hit it, I do it too right.
My name is Deandra and I'm super excited to do today's video. For those who do not know me, I live in New York, born and raised. I'm Haitian American and I'm super passionate about creating content for young professionals, people who've just graduated from college or you're post-grad and you're navigating your career. So this video will be 8 tips for young professionals or those in their 20s that you need to level up in your career. I think especially with how this economy is going with layoffs and everything else, I just wanted to share what has been really helpful towards my career and helping me excel. And for those who are wondering about my credibility, here's a list of all the companies that I've worked for. Yes. So let's get into this video and let's get started. So let's go over the first point. I think the biggest thing is discovering your purpose. Now, I'm a woman of faith and I firmly believe that once you discover your purpose, it's easier for you to navigate your career. But notice I said discover your purpose and not that it has a deadline. And the reason why I say that is because myself being in my mid-20s and honestly speaking to all of my friends, I recognize that the goal that I had when I was 15 and now me being 25 isn't going to be the same. And I'm not going to preach to you that whatever you used to think that you wanted to do, that you have to stick through it. So many times you go through your career and through life and you may want to switch things up or change things or do the thing that scares you. I say, once you find your purpose, it'll be much easier for you to find a career that is fulfilling in what you want to do. So that is the first step. The second thing that is a very great tip for young career professionals to know is to having long-term thinking for your goals. And this is super, super important when you are trying to think about the end result for the things that you're doing, especially when it's mundane. One book that I love, and I'll go over my recommendations letter, is The Power of Discipline, No Excuses by Brian Tracy. And in this book, Brian Tracy actually talks about the process of long-term thinking. So one of the principles that Brian Tracy actually talks about in his book, No Excuses, is long-term thinking and long-term perspective. In the book, he actually references that the most successful attribute that he notices in people that are the greatest of the world is a long-term perspective and long-term thinking. So this time perspective is actually the amount of time that an individual takes when taking into consideration their present actions. And why is this important is because the person that sits and ponders and thinks about the long-term goal, okay, while one may say a bag of potato chips may not kill you, but someone may think to themselves, well, I'm really trying to develop discipline and healthier eating and a better lifestyle. So instead of me grabbing chips, let me grab an orange or an apple today. That person recognizes that the little things that they do day to day is what's going to change their greater outcome and what they want their life to look like. And that is a winning mindset and a winning attitude that has helped me in my early career. The next thing is networking horizontally. Issa Rae has always mentioned this and coining this to the success of her early career of how she networked and hustled hard with the people who are around her. Think about the people that go to your school, your church, people that you play basketball with, that you go to the mall or hang out with, or like mutual friends that you know in different scenarios. Those are the people that you should be leaning on to help you get to where you are. A lot of people think, you know, I want to get to this level. I want to be a marketing executive. I should speak to the CEO. You should be actually developing strong relationships with the people around you because they're going to be the next CEOs. They're going to be the next directors. And when you need a recommendation, a referral, or some insight, definitely let people know. I always recommend if you're looking for a new position, even if you're full in your career and you're looking to get an insight, speak to an intern. As a former intern who has interned at many companies, and for those who did not catch the companies that I worked for in the beginning of my video, I'll put the logos up again. I have worked at so many places and people would not realize how much power interns have. And because they're on such a short rotation, they're really trying to make the most out of their experience, and they're more than willing to have the time to speak with you, give you insight and tips, and more than likely sometimes they can even influence the manager or the director that they're working with to get you a shot at your company as well. I've done that and it's worked and had amazing impact. So definitely do not neglect the people that are in your close circle. That I would also recommend for young professionals is volunteering. Volunteering is a great decision for you to decide what you want to do and what you're not really too fond of. And why I say volunteering is important because it's a very low commitment. You can volunteer for a day, or you can do something like a contract for a month, and then afterwards you can decide whether you like it or not. And if you really get to develop your skills and you enjoy what you're doing, then you can start pursuing opportunities where you can actually get paid with the skills that you develop. So for example, if I was interested in social media marketing and I knew a friend of mine who was building a hair business, and I said, hey, can I be your social media assistant and run your social media page for a month? I'm trying to grow my engagement and I want to grow a clientele. So I'm trying to build a portfolio, and I would love to help you out as you're growing your business and also for my professional growth goals. If you find out that, you're all over the place and you don't like posting content, then you saved yourself a lot of trouble by, volunteering and figuring that out before signing on for a full-time role and then not being able to back out afterwards. That's like the worst thing you could do, especially when you start paying bills and things. So it's very difficult. So I would definitely say volunteer your time. Another tip that I wish people would have told me is to not compare your career journey to anyone else. I think it's very hard, especially when you see a lot of career content on Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, everywhere. People are showcasing of what their life is like in dream roles that you could only imagine. And it can be sometimes a lot, it can be a bit overwhelming to see the amount of positions that are available and people in the positions that you want to be in. And maybe that's not your season right now. But as someone who can attest, I can go more in a deeper career story, but I lost my internship when I graduated from college the day after I graduated. I literally went into training, and then the day after they said, we no longer have a budget and your offer has been rescinded. So I literally had to pivot after graduating with my college degree, and I thought that I was going to law school. So definitely says that don't compare your journey to anyone else, because if I spent my time sulking and comparing to where my friends and things were when I was still figuring things out, I wouldn't be where I was today. That, and with God's help, he's definitely has directed me on a path that's allowed me to be confident and to meet so many people that's helped me along the way. And that's what this channel is here for, to help you grow professionally, personally, spiritually, all of that. I want to also bring out as well is being mindful of your mental health, especially for those who may have possibly lost a job, or you're looking to pivot and you feel like you're not finding a success. Taking care of your mental health is really important. While a job is obviously a necessity for our livelihood, don't make being a career and getting one and landing that job thinking that that's going to make you happy, because in reality it isn't. I've worked at dream companies in dream positions, and while I was grateful for the opportunity, it didn't change my mindset or attitude of what I had to do, because it took a lot of work to maintain those positions. And not every day I was happy to, walk into those buildings. It really depends on your environment, the type of manager that you're dealing with, and your coworkers. So a lot of things go into what would be a dream job or an ideal location for you to work with. I've lost count, but we are now at the 7th point. Tip that I would reiterate for those who are in their 20s is quality over quantity. And this really goes wide in the spectrum, whether that's the work you're producing, the amount of meetings that you're attending, the type of feedback that you're giving. Quality is better than quantity. I wish someone would have told me that early in my career, because I thought that by stacking a whole bunch of extracurriculars on my resume that it was doing good. And while it did show that I was a committed and involved student, I found that I wasn't really able to focus and find my niche in the things that I really liked, because I was involved in so many things. And especially when you're in college, or if you just graduated, so many people will try to throw opportunities at you as you're trying to figure out what things that you like or dislike. So I would recommend for you to choose things of quality and to be in a position where you're only having quality experiences and not feeling like you have to pick so many different things to appeal to your resume for you to land that job. Focus in, hone in on 2 or 3 things that you like, and you'll see it'll definitely reap some reward. Now we're actually reaching towards our last point, and then I will go into books, recommendations, and creators that I think you should check out if you are looking to level up in your career, life, and all of the above. The last thing is actually being personable. So this step is actually something I think is very underrated. A lot of people think about, how can I get the job? How can I get the company? I want to work with these people. When you understand the psychology of people and the fact that most people just want to work with people that they are fond of, that they would want to get stuck in an airport with, or, you know, grab a drink with at the bar, then you realize that it's less about your skills and what you know and more about who you are. Now, I'm not negating positions that require technical experience, and obviously like a VP is not gonna just go off of the fact that, oh yeah, he's a personable guy. You know, there's a skill set that comes with it. But as you're growing your career early on, and when you are genuine, you hold integrity, you keep your word, and you're someone that people can rely on, and you are dependable, you'll definitely find others that will help you along your path. And even, you know, letting God know, like, hey, you know, I don't necessarily know where I'm going in my career. God can grant you that vision and insight as to where you're supposed to be in your life. All of the most helpful tips that has helped me land positions and where I'm early in my career. I'll definitely continue this series if you guys think it's interesting. Now let's go into my favorite books and podcasts and creators that you should check out if you're looking to level up your career, especially if you're a post-grad or just navigating your 20s. Have to take a water break. That was a lot of talking. But let's get into some of my favorite books that have helped me in my career. And by means, this is not in any specific order, but these are just a couple of the books that I would definitely recommend. So the first book, I touched on it a bit in this video, but No Excuses, The Power to Self-Discipline by Brian Tracy is a great book. If you're looking to complement it with a book like Atomic Habits, I think this really goes into psychology and thinking of how you can be productive and towards your actions. It's a really great book to help you accountable, and especially as the new year is starting, I would recommend this highly to everyone. The next book that I would like to recommend is The Third Door. Anybody who asks me about career or anything like that, The Third Door is an amazing book. Alex kind of goes through his journey being in college and finding out where his passions lie. And he goes through a great series of events, without spoiling the plot of this book, that I think all people should have in career and just in life in general. This goes without notice, but The 12-Week Year, I think, is a great book, especially because it really outlines great ways that you can create goals in a short amount of time, and you don't need a full year for you to set out like New Year's resolutions. But this author outlines how you can really attack, outline, and strategize your goals within 12 weeks, and you can see some really great success by following this template. I also have the accompanying book where you can use it as a journal to track what your goals are, and I also have a Notion template that I will link down below. So this book is actually called After College. These are for people who are faith-based. This was a book that was gifted to me, and after I graduated college, it really goes through the things that, you know, everyone kind of deals with once they're navigating college and life and adult relationships, but it has a spiritual background for those who are of the Christian faith and who are looking for guidance towards where they can go in their career. The last book is called The Personal Touch. And it's fitting because, as I mentioned in my last tip about being personable, this author, Terry Williams, really goes through a deep dive of her career being a celebrity publicist. And she did this at a later in her life, once she pivoted careers. I think it's a really great book that shows you how you can handle relationships and what that looks like. And, you know, just being a person that people can depend on and, you know, being standout all around. So I would highly recommend this book. Let's go into some suggestions for podcasts. I love podcasts. So preface that everyone that I'm mentioning within these podcast lists is either someone that's in their 20s or does content related to people in their 20s and their careers and things. So if you are a bit older, don't feel like this podcast is not for you, I would recommend it to anyone. So the first podcast that I would recommend is In Their 20s. And then I think it's really great just to hear from people that are in our age group who have achieved wild, successful milestones. There's also the podcast Side Hustle Pro. I think it's really great to hear about what other people are doing outside their 9-to-5 to create passive income, because sometimes people don't fall in the traditional corporate route or working for a company and they desire to be an entrepreneur. Side Hustle Pro, I think, will give you the tips, the confidence, and the insight for different, side hustles that you may be considering if, a regular 9-to-5 isn't your thing. Another podcast that I love is Too Smart for This. by Alexis Barber. She's an amazing woman who just really prioritizes self-care and talks a lot about that. She works in big tech and she has some really amazing guests that come on. And while this isn't related to career content, I think the topics that she touches on relating towards personal wellness and mental health, and for people who are in really cool careers, can give you some insight of things that you've never considered before. Lastly, Chroma Radio. That's a really great career podcast for women of color who are looking to cultivate and understand more about their career. Creators that I love, or platforms that you can follow: Colors of Chloe, Colors of Her Success by my friend Mia. She's amazing and has a platform dedicated to women of color building their career. Miss Empower Her, Revamped. So those are a couple that I'll also list below that you guys can check out. But thank you guys so much for tuning into my video. Let me know if you like this type of content by leaving a thumbs up or subscribing or leaving a comment. As I mentioned before, I truly love creating content within this format. You know, as a first generation Haitian American, this type of thing really warms my heart. So let me know how you're liking the content. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.
All I need.